Hi everybody, Grid21 back with another video, and I was messing around in Studio One version 2, and I have been wanting for a while to figure out how to make myself sound like Optimus Prime, just more for the fun of it, honestly. And I think I came up with a way to actually recreate it as closely as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and do some switching, and we'll jump right into Studio One, and I'll explain how to do it. Okay, so we're inside Studio One. Make sure there's enough gain output. Okay, so for start, this is basically what I sounded like after all the recording and modulation and stuff.
Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it holds the power to create worlds and fill them with life.
Now, I know it's not exact, but I think that's pretty good. So let's talk about how we got there. So I'm gonna turn off all the effects. I'm gonna undo my transpose like so. And so for reference, this is what it originally sounded like. Now this is me talking in my lowest voice I can humanly create, and it sounded like this. Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it holds the power to create worlds and fill them with life. Okay, so that was the original recording. So what I did was I went into Studio One's inspector function, which is F4 by the way, and you're going to go ahead and select your track. Now when you do transposing, if you find that your transpose didn't apply, chances are you didn't actually click your recording. You always have to click the recording in Studio One. It's honestly kind of ridiculous, but you have to click it, or highlight rather, and then what I found from my voice was actually doing a transpose down to -3. This variable will change based on your personal range, where your voice, especially if you're a guy, it's really, some guys have high voices, some guys have low voices, so you may or may not have to do this, I don't know. And then what you're going to need is the next 4 following effects. So I used Empire, Phaser, Compressor, and Pro EQ. So let's just listen to it with just the transpose down to -3.
Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it holds the power to create worlds and fill them with life.
Okay, so that's sounding pretty close. So next I applied the Empire effect, and this is what that sounded like.
Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it holds the power to create worlds and fill them with life.
And actually, I'm going to disable the stomp boxes here, so we have a little bit of a...
Before time began, there was the cube.
Okay, cool. So apparently I must have had some stomp boxes enabled in the stomp box section, but if they're enabled, disable them, because it will just completely ruin the effect if you don't. So the next one I applied was a phaser. I'm not sure if they used a phaser in the original recordings for the movie, but I thought this was... it kind of adds a little bit of like a machine sort of a feel to it. So phaser amount is really personal preference. You can adjust it as much or more or less how you want it. So that's basically what this is my personal setting here. So you can kind of either pause the video and take a look at it and try it yourself for whatever you want to do. Now, with the phaser enabled, again, this is what it sounds like.
Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it holds the power to create worlds and fill them with life.
Okay, so that's the phaser effect, and I think it needs a little bit of adjustment, but I could always, you could adjust it how you want to, or you don't have to have it on. That's just what I did. So, next, compressor just kind of helps compress some of the punch in the recording and stuff. I don't know if it really made that much of a difference, but I think it kind of did a little bit.
Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it holds the power to create worlds and fill them with life.
Okay, so that was with the compressor. And the next effect, the last one, is Pro EQ. One of my personal favorites, by the way. And so with Pro EQ, I simply rolled off my highs, because, you know, I mean, it's Optimus Prime. He doesn't have any highs in his voice. He's a very deep spoken person. And so with all these effects and the transpose applied, this is what the final product sound like.
Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it holds the power to create worlds and fill them with life.
And that's basically how I did it. If you guys have any suggestions, of course, about how to maybe do this process a little smoother, that's perfectly fine with me. You can comment below in the video as usual, and you guys know I read the comments and stuff. And I love your suggestions, your ideas. I've gotten so many comments on so many different other videos. It's crazy. But this is my personal tutorial, so if you guys want to try to do something like this yourself, this is how I did it. And yeah, so I hope you found this video useful, and until then, I will catch you guys later.